Hello and welcome. Quaster here, back with another video, and today we are looking at a new healer build. Now, last week we did the Great Axe build video with Life Staff, and I've still been having fun with that build. It is very, very fun, but I've been playing around with the idea of doing Blunderbuss. So lately I have been playing more Blunderbuss with Life Staff, and for a while I actually did not like it until I started playing it a little differently and kind of changed my thought process of how I wanted to go around playing it. So, for today's video, this is my Plague Doctor Blunderbuss Life Staff Healing PvP build. Before we fully get into today's video, I do just want to say, if you like this video, please drop it a like. It does help me out a lot. And if you'd like to see more content like this from me in the future, you can definitely subscribe to the channel. It is free, helps me out quite a bit, and shows me what you guys want to see more of, whether that's New World, Arc, anything like that in the future. So it does help me out quite a bit. Also, I do stream on Twitch throughout the week, so if you'd like to stop by a live stream and see me kind of developing some of these builds or playing around with just kind of some fun different things, definitely stop on by, say hello, lurk, whatever makes you comfortable. We would love to have you either way. But let's get into today's video. To get it started today, we are going to be looking at the gear to start out with. Now, the gear that I'm wearing is the same that I've been wearing for the last couple videos here, so if you've seen those videos, you can definitely kind of hop past the armor and the life staff and all that. I will show the blunderbuss here, but we'll just go through the armor really quick in case you haven't seen those videos. The way I like to run my PvP healer build is running a lot of refreshing evasion, or heavier on the refreshing evasion side as opposed to refreshing. Main thought process behind that is in PvP, I am dodging a lot more. I'm having to stay fairly active. I might be running and trying to get cooldowns back as I'm running. So it just kind of depends. But for me, I like refreshing evasion the most for PvP, and I prefer refreshing for PvE. So I actually do build my healer build slightly different between PvP, PvE. Once I have my full PvE fit together, I will do a PvE healer build video again. I've done one in the past, but I'd like to do another one. But for today, that's what we're looking at for the PvP build, is more heavily on the refreshing evasion. I do have one stack of refreshing here, but most everything else is going to have refreshing evasion on it. Including my amulet and my earring, and then I do run full nature damage, so I have nature damage on my ring, and I actually run the nature damage rune glass in all of my armor. I know there are some healers who won't run rune glass in their armor, or they might not run more damage focused ones, but I do find that it does help out a lot. You're able to kind of DPS a little bit more to help your team out, and in a 1v1 scenario against DPS, you do stand just a little bit higher chance of actually coming out on top of it, not just surviving the fight. So for weapons, still running that glowing life crystal staff. I don't really change that up. Still running Biobomb for my heart rune, because Biobomb is by far my favorite. I think it just has a lot of versatility to it for various builds, and it has that disease. Now for the blunderbuss. The blunderbuss, I knew what I wanted out of it. And I actually ended up crafting blunderbuss the other day, and I ended up getting this. So what I do is I run plague splitting grenade, plague crits, plus I have the heart rune for the biobomb. So I actually have 3 diseases on this build, thus why I call it the Plague Doctor build. So when you have the plague splitting grenade plus the plague crits, if you are hitting someone with a splitting grenade and they're below 50% health, you will actually trigger both of those, or it should trigger both of them, to give you a nice big disease on whoever gets hit by that. So I have seen it in gameplay where it is really nice. You shoot it in there, you see all the numbers go up, and then all of a sudden you see your team collapsing on them, and you just kind of walk through. So even though, like, you see all the numbers and it's not really huge numbers, but what you're seeing is you're diseasing everything. You're really helping your team in that way. The plague splitting grenade is really huge, and I do recommend having splitting grenade on your blunderbuss in order to make it a little bit stronger, make that disease more potent. The plague crits, I really think is also a really nice one, because again, with blunderbuss as a healer, we're not putting out huge damage numbers. It's not terrible, but we're not putting out huge numbers. So definitely play more off of that disease. Try to really debuff the other team while you're healing and everything with your own team. Taking a look at the attributes here, you can see that I have a little bit wonky layout. Part of that is just due to my armor, ring, all that stuff. I do have a little bit more con than what I normally would like. Typically, I shoot for around 110 because I run 150 as a healer. Now, I know a lot of healers are going to run 200 con, and that is totally fine. If you would rather run 200 con for survivability reasons and all that, definitely go for it. I run 150 with a lot of success. I don't die. I would say I die as much with 200 as I do with 150, because usually if I die with 200 or 150 or whatever, a lot of it is my own doing, or we're just getting rolled and I didn't back out. You know, there's just usually it's my fault for why I die. It's not a lack of HP or a lack of armor. So I run 150 to make sure that I at least get the crit damage taken away, that 10%. And that does help you survive quite a bit, some of those bigger hits. But you'll be surprised at how much you can survive with 150. On top of that, with the blunderbuss build that we're running, we do have more fortify, so you can actually make up for some of that lack of armor from the 200 perk. You can actually make up for some of that by just having the blunderbuss out, because you do get some of that fortify, which increases your physical or increases your armor rating overall. So that's what I run for attributes. Next, let's take a look at the mastery. All right, we're going to go over the life staff really quickly. I go over this in every single one of my healer build videos, so if you have not seen one of those, I'll link one down below so you can get maybe a little more in-depth. But this is what I run for my life staff build. This is my go-to build. I don't really change it up from this unless I'm doing AoE healing, a splash of light healing build, a haste build. So I do want to get to the point where I have videos for the different life staff builds that I do, but for now this is what we're running. So definitely take note. We're running Beacon, Sacred Ground, and Divine Embrace, and then we want to make sure that we get down to Divine Blessing. So this is what I run for my life staff build. Like I said, I will try to link a more in-depth life staff video for what I run for my build down below, so you can see that if you have not seen that before. Next, let's take a look at the blunderbuss. So this is what I run for blunderbuss. This has been the best layout for me so far. There's maybe one ability that I would suggest changing if you want to go more DPS heavy with your build. But what we run is we run net, splitting grenade, and blast shot. The two that I think are the absolute most necessary are splitting grenade and blast shot. Blast shot is going to be your peel. Now with that, you want to blast shot and get away, use that time to kind of back away from the fight, disengage, anything like that. Unless your team is pushing someone, then you're going to lead with it and just keep pushing them with your team. But that is your peel. You're going to be able to peel for yourself. People are not going to expect the healer to blast shot them, so usually they don't dodge. A lot of times people just will not dodge it because they don't see it coming. So blast shot I think is very, very necessary. I do run the haste with blast shot as well, because then I can shoot it down mid, and any of the ice storms that come in through mid on, like, let's say we're pushing sun, or they're pushing sun, they're putting ice storms in, and I have a blast shot in there, that's going to disregard some of that slowing. So it does make a difference as far as having that out. And then obviously you get the rend application as well, which personally, I think they need to raise the rend on this because of the changes to fortify and rend. I don't think a 10% is a major difference, especially for how close you have to be to them. But I also see on the flip side, you increase that too much, and then you start creating these combos with blunderbuss that you want to kind of get away from. So we'll see what happens. They've buffed some of the fortifies on other things, so I don't know if they would buff the rend on this or not ever, but we'll see. So this is what I run though, and then we do run the net shot, because the net shot, we get a little extra heart rune charge because of the bleed on it. You get the slow from it, and then if you have the space on your armor, I would run exhausting net shot. That would be the only other perk that I would add to it. You don't really need the blast shot. It does add a slow if you want to get that, so it wouldn't hurt if you happen to have a piece, but that one, I'd probably go for an exhaustive net shot, because then let's say your team is chasing someone, you hit them with that net shot and they dodge, you know, a few times, they're out of stam. And they're not getting that stam back right away. So your team's going to be able to collapse a little easier. But otherwise, splitting grenade on the on the blunderbuss itself is the route that I would go. And then we do run down to double down. So with double down, for this being the kind of ultimate on the chaos side, once every 30 seconds, your next ability used will have its cooldown reduced by 50%. So what I like to do is when I get into a fight, let's say it's a team fight, very start of the match, you're pushing towards Sun, I'm going to get all my heals down, get all my healing cooldowns thrown out, and then shoot my grenade, switch back to my heals, try to get some cooldowns back, and then by the time I get my next set of life staff cooldowns out, I already have another grenade again. Because grenade cooldown is almost 30 seconds, which is pretty long. We do have our refreshing evasion, stuff like that, so we can reduce that. But then when you cut that down to 15 seconds, and then you're trying to use your life staff and get your cooldowns down on that, by that time, you usually have another grenade, you know, and then you can blast shot, grenade, anything like that. But I will say, if you want to go more DPS-y with it, which I don't know if I'd recommend, I've tried it in the past, it doesn't feel like it does enough, you could replace Net Shot with Shrapnel Blast. Shrapnel Blast is a pretty powerful ability for a DPS. As a healer, I just didn't feel like it had enough for me. But definitely, like, if you feel like Net Shot you're not using as much or isn't as useful for you, try Shrapnel Blast. Shrapnel Blast can be really good. It's a pretty short cooldown. You know, you get the Azoth bomb at the end there, so it's not bad. Definitely something that you could try. It would help you finish off a few people that maybe, you know, were a little bit lower on health and you didn't have time to switch to life staff or something to get that last heavy attack in. Then Shrapnel Blast could maybe do something like that for you. But otherwise, Net Shot, Splitting Grenade, Blast Shot, that's what I've been running, having a lot of fun with, especially if you do a Blast Shot into a Net Shot. So Blast Shot, knock them down, Net Shot them, and that's going to push you back, and now you've completely peeled for yourself and created this space that allows you to get away. So for a long time, I did not think that Blunderbuss had enough peel. I couldn't get away from people. I was really struggling as a healer specifically, but I was trying to play it like a DPS as opposed to like a healer. So when I kind of changed my thought process, started playing more like a healer, where I'm like, all right, I need to get my disease, I need to use my Blast Shot for my peel. My net can be used offensively or defensively. Like, there was just a lot more options when I just changed my thought process. But this is what I run for Blunderbuss. This has been a really, really good build. You can definitely change some of these passive perks around if you'd like. I do recommend, though, running the grenade. Actually, all three of these abilities, if you run the same abilities, get them all the way leveled up. It does make a difference. Again, the haste on Blast Shot doesn't seem like it's that great, but it's a 25% movement speed buff. And any of your bruisers that are sitting in a doorway getting Ice Storm after Ice Storm, they're going to love it because you're going to give them that haste. They're not going to feel like they're super slowed down or anything like that. So you add that on top of a beacon and they're sitting pretty good. They're happy. So that is our goal as a healer. Keep our team happy, disease the other team, anything like that. Yeah, so this is the Blunderbuss side of it. Next, let's take a look at some gameplay. I don't have a whole lot from this currently because I've been kind of messing around with it and stuff and trying some different things. But definitely take a look at it and yeah, enjoy. Oh, please. right, that is going to do it for today's video. So thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to drop the video a like if it did help you out and if you enjoyed watching it. And if you'd like to see more content from me, please don't forget to subscribe. It is free and it really does help me out a lot. And I do really appreciate everyone who has been supporting me and watching my videos, giving it likes, feedback, all that fun stuff. I really do appreciate it. But that is going to do it for today's video. So until next time, I'll see you guys later.